this is part of me trying to kind of come to terms with the fact that my son decided to take his own life, and I wasn't able to stop him from doing so.
We don't know how Hannah found out about this poison. We don't know whether she was involved in any suicide forums, and it leaves a missing gap in our understanding of her passing.
I want to say to the public that it can be anybody. It can be anybody's child, anybody's young person. It can happen to anybody. So, Amy was not the odd one out all the other victims.
I'm Amy Walsh, an editor at The Mirror. Over the past months, I've been investigating a pro-suicide forum and illegal poison being used for taking lives. This forum and the poison it promotes remain an active threat to vulnerable people in the UK. I've been speaking to families who have lost loved ones and who are now sharing their stories in the hope that no one else will have to suffer the way they have. I'm on my way to meet David in London. His son Tom died after accessing a pro-suicide forum where users recommended the poison he would later use to take his own life. Today, David has agreed to speak to us from his home, to share who Tom was and how online platforms played a role in his death. Hi David, nice to meet you.
Good to see you.
Good to meet you.
Tom's smiling here. It's an incredibly broad grin. He's very happy. This is Disney. We've gone for a character dinner. To be honest, I didn't understand how much my son loved Tigger until this moment. And then I'm just delighted to meet that character. It's one of my favourite photos of him. This is Tom. Pretty sure that's his manuscript when he was maybe 14, 15. Always at his happiest on a football pitch. Always loved playing. Yeah, really good times, really happy memories.
If you could tell me a bit more about the last time you saw Tom, what was your last conversation with him?
So I picked him up from his university, and it was quite a long drive. He was studying in Scotland. He wanted to sit in the back of the car, stretch out, go to sleep. Like many students, he often kind of slept during the day and worked at night. So that wasn't unusual. I think in many ways it's a typical conversation with quite a tired 20-year-old, in that it wasn't particularly deep or comprehensive. It was just Tom. I was worried about him, but he'd actually told us a story about actually coming down to stay with his mum so that he could get help from a service in London. So he'd kind of planted the seeds that he still wasn't feeling great. He'd been sectioned recently, but he'd found a place he could go to recover. He was going to stay with his mum for a couple of weeks and go to that place. And I believed him, but that was just a cover story for him to stay for a bit with his mum. And then, unfortunately, instead of going to this place he talked about, he actually meant he was going to go to a hotel and kill himself.
Adele and her mother, Oslem, have agreed to speak with me about Amy, Adele's younger sister. This is the first time Oslem has spoken publicly about her daughter's death. Amy died in October 2022, aged 21, after taking poison sourced through a pro-suicide forum. It was through that forum she met a man who flew in from the US. They spent 11 days together in a hotel, where Amy eventually took her own life.
She was an amazingly talented artist, but she was also very shy and sort of like, she didn't like to sort of promote, she wouldn't like show her work. She kept it all very to herself. But she would always be sat there scribbling, but you'd never see what she was doing. So after she passed on, when we were going through her stuff in her bedroom, and we found just, notebook after notebook of some beautiful work, and this is one of them. We hadn't seen this until after she died.
Yeah.
It's stunning, it's gorgeous, and to think that she had that hidden away.
Yeah. So this is a collection of some photos of her with Pharrell, who was her favourite artist. This was in Glasgow. This was in Manchester, wasn't it?
Yeah.
At festival. And this is a clip from her dancing on stage with him.
You can see that she looks very smug there, so happy.
That's backstage when she forgot about me.
Yeah.
But you haven't forgotten? Never?
No, never.
I love that.
Yeah.
She looks so happy in all of these photos.
Yeah. No, those were the best moments of her life.
Absolutely. Amy was not a planned baby, so she came as a surprise. And I guess that element of surprise just carried out throughout her life. She would always surprise you. I would say, we were probably very close.
Yeah, and I think being Amy's older sister, I always tried to look after her however I could, whether that was like her coming and sitting with my friends at lunchtime in school, or her being my +1 to parties, things like that, and also just trying to remind her how incredible and unique and cool she was all the time, and just affirming that to her and trying to build up her confidence was really important. Amy put so much pressure on herself to be perfect, to be excellent, to be brilliant. I think ever since the pandemic, Amy passed October 2022, and after coming out of the pandemic, things were really hard and it never quite got back to how she was before. She was, again, spending a lot of time in her room, not really going out much, not really spending time with us, having, family dinners is something that we've always done, and she wasn't doing those things so much. And she would run away from home.
Running away from home, it was almost like she kind of pressed a self-destruct button. You just couldn't get through to her. She was so unwell. So we reached out to the mental health services, which she's been under, and sadly, had no proper support from them. And I just remember her looking at me with her big brown eyes, and I said something like, "Amy, you need help. Can you just talk to them, talk to us?" And she didn't say anything. And then I think I was in the kitchen, I heard the door go, and I saw her running off with her backpack. And that was it, yeah.
I'm here to meet Pete, whose daughter Hannah died after taking a poison she found online. Pete says Hannah was failed by mental health services, and he's now calling for ambulances to carry an antidote that could save lives. He's invited us into his home to talk about who Hannah was and why he's so proud of her.
This is a place that we reflect on Hannah. Come here and think about the sapling that she brought home and how it's grown and prospered. I suppose you could sort of almost see the analogy with life itself. We always have a broken branch that will be our loss of Hannah, but hopefully as our lives grow, we will grow, but that will always be with us. See, now it's a living memorial to Hannah, And then obviously Amanda, with Hannah's favourite colour, purple, she's decorated the leaves with purple ribbons, and also these butterfly. When we see butterflies in the gardens, we now always think of Hannah. We feel her presence through the butterflies. Here we see Hannah with her puppy Milo, who she absolutely adored. And here again is Milo with Hannah and our dog Alfie, who's a Westie, who Hannah again adored. This is something I wanted you to see. This is Hannah, probably about, I don't know, 3 or 4 maybe. And what I really want you to see is those blue eyes.
Yeah.
Because when Hannah was born, we decided on the name Hannah because Hannah in Hebrew, I believe, means the gift from God. After she was born, the first evening we went out as a couple, we went to see Moulin Rouge. And in that film, there's a song that Ewan McGregor sings, my song. And there are 2 lines in there that really sort of resonate with me. One is, those are the sweetest eyes I have ever seen. And the other one is, how wonderful life is now you're in the world. That's what I take from this picture. And I remember that film and how happy we were to have her with us. Our family was complete. We had Matt, our son, who was 7 years older than Hannah. And we had Hannah, and our family was complete. Well, I'd like to be remembered as a, beautiful, caring young person with her whole life in front of her, but one that had complexities that, had been undiagnosed for a long time, which I feel contributed to her decline, but somebody who could, under the right conditions, thrive and support other vulnerable people around her. I think with her autism, I think she found social contact, social interaction very difficult. I mean, we found this throughout her life, that she found it difficult to engage with people, and it took a long time to sort of trust people, and I think that was a symptom of autism. But for us, the mental health system didn't help Hannah whatsoever. I mean, Hannah went through 6 mental health hospitals in 5 years. And when somebody has experienced care that has completely invalidated their feelings and the way they are, they lose all hope. And this is, I believe, how Hannah progressed. And even in her final note, she said that there was no care out there that could help her. She'd lost all hope. And I think that was probably the root cause of her death. The mental health system had just completely failed her.
Tom had been interested in suicide methods for a while, and looking back, I think there were signs that he'd actually found something. Again, I was very naive at this time about how on earth would you find out how to kill yourself? So there was a change in him that I think was, in all likelihood, him actually finding something that he thought would work, i.e. he thought would kill himself.
She was really, really not herself. She was very different. She was, in her presentation, very different. She even sort of looked different in her sort of face. She was absent. She wasn't there, really.
So the last time we saw her was probably about 10 days before she passed. Just a really nice day, nice walk, nice views over the valley of Caterham. Everything seemed fine, really. She was in her living room watching TV with Milo, and she called out to carers to say that she wasn't feeling very well, and she admitted to them that she'd taken an overdose. And then 7 o'clock in the evening we had the knock on the door, and he knew instantly that was the police telling us that she passed.
On the 14th of October, the police knocked on the door and we were not home, only my dad was home. And they told us that Amy had been found in a hotel in Slough. And we then found out that Amy had taken a poison, and that was how she came to die.
When I heard the knock on the door, and obviously at that time it was a pretty loud noise, I looked out of the curtains, and there was a police car outside, and at that moment I knew. It's just something I hope that people don't have to go through.
The US-based forum is currently under investigation by Ofcom under the powers of the Online Safety Act. In response, the site claims to have blocked UK users, accusing the UK government of infringing on their First Amendment rights. But in reality, they direct users to free VPNs to bypass the block.
I feel like you could almost end up this consuming your life, going on the forum, seeing what's going on. I think it would be just too much, I think.
Dark web, darker side of the internet. To be honest with you, until we lost Amy, we didn't know much about that side of the internet either.
In the next episode, I speak with families about the devastating link between online harm and real-world tragedy.
Trying to reach out to the police, I was trying to reach out to my local MP, trying all the avenues you'd expect, and nobody was listening.
I'll also hear from a survivor, someone who ingested the poison and was pulled back from the edge of death.
Did you want to die in that moment?
In that moment I did, yes.